see what they have to say about this. So it says, here's why AI needs a 6-month pause. NYU Professor Gary Marcus says, as we all know, GPT has been huge. I actually had to use it for work, and there's a bug. I keep missing it. Oh my God, that bug's annoying. Sorry, guys. But yeah, as we all know, there's been the huge emergence of Chat GPT. College graduates are going to be cheating even more than ever. Hopefully not the doctors, because, you know what I'm saying, you doing surgery. And bro is using Chat GPT, you know what I'm saying, to pass his classes and stuff like that. That would not be good. But, you know, obviously there's a lot of, you know, negative things that could come out of Chat GPT, while also a lot of positive things that could come out of Chat GPT. I work in the IT field, so, you know, for me, I'm all for innovation. I'm all for the emergence of technology, but there is a point where too much is too much, and moving too quickly can be dangerous, especially with something that isn't regulated. You know, it can be very harmful to the people. And as you know, if AI really emerges the way it's emerging right now, a lot of people will lose a lot of jobs. So if you feel like you have, I don't know, like a customer support job, certain jobs that you feel like could be taken away by the emergence of AI, I would definitely recommend, you know what I'm saying, getting to a skill that couldn't be affected by AI and everything like that. But let's see what this professor has to say. It's an ad. Sorry, guys.
Our next guest is the author of Rebooting AI and jumped on board signing the letter. We'll share more about why. Gary Marcus joins us, New York University professor. He's also founded Geometric Intelligence, a machine learning startup that Uber acquired. It's great to have you, Professor. Why are you joining the team that is putting out a warning and calling for a pause?
We need a wake-up call here. We have a perfect storm of corporate irresponsibility, widespread adoption of these new tools, a lack of regulation, and a huge number of unknowns.
Lack of regulation. I mean, do you really think we're going to get regulation? That they've been warning about social media and digital media for years, and we really have very little to show for it on that front.
I think things have moved really slowly. I think they're moving a little bit faster in Europe than they are here. But part of the reason that some of us wrote this letter is to put some...
So I also want to know, I think that was a very interesting point that she made. She was basically saying, hey, well, social media's emergence has been pretty much unregulated, and it's been able to go at as fast of a speed, you know, as, you know, they've been able to pretty much produce it. Now, when it comes to it, I want to know, do you guys think maybe we should have regulated social media a lot more? Think about it. Mental illness is way up. You know what I'm saying? Mental illness is way up. Like I was saying earlier, we got 10-year-olds twerking on TikTok. That's not positive. And we can all acknowledge that as a society, the emergence of social media hasn't been very good for people. People are depressed, you know, there's a lot more mental issues, people feeling like they have to live up to celebrities and people and certain even things like certain body images that aren't realistic. And this is all because of the emergence of social media. So I think that she's saying, obviously she's saying, you know what I'm saying, do you think we should regulate Chat GPT, even though we haven't been regulating this before? I think that kind of makes us say, let's take a step back and think before, you know, even in the MySpace days, Instagram, you know, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, you know, what would have happened maybe if we had more regulation on it? Maybe that could have been a good thing, you know?
Some pressure on to make governments and the companies realize that this is no joke, that there are risks from these things. There are immediate short-term risks around misinformation at wide scale that might disrupt democracy, you know, much more plausible and much more of it than we've ever seen before. There are risks around cybersecurity, people using these tools to acquire people's credentials and do all kinds of things once they have those credentials. There are longer-term risks that we just don't understand what these machines can do. And we don't know how to make them align with human desire. So There are many, many issues to worry about, and we've never seen anything scaled out.
Y'all remember I had a video a few months ago about the Google AI where a person pretty much, they said he was, he chose to leave or whatever, but essentially they had like the robot. Was it Google? I think it was Google. That they had the robot, and the robot was basically saying that it had feelings, that, and it could be angry and everything like that. And that the robot was like learning extremely fast. It was kind of a scary situation, because I was pretty much thinking like, okay, so the robot could say that it had feelings and everything like that. It said it wanted to have friends. It could understand, and it even said that it wanted to be there's the bug again. It even said that it wanted to be alive. So think about it. If the robot is smarter than human beings, and it has the ability to know that it doesn't want to be shut down, then maybe the AI can build the ability to start making actions to prevent itself from being shut down, which is, then it becomes a whole, Will Smith iRobot type of situation, which nobody wants.
So fast before. And we're also seeing that the corporates are, as usual, more interested in profits than human safety. And so we have to do something. And that's why a bunch of us signed this letter. I don't know if the particular thing that we called for will actually happen, but we've raised public awareness more than I've ever seen on this issue. I've been on television nonstop for the last couple of days talking about it. I think it's just absolutely critical that people in society realize that we can't wait on this. We need regulation that's akin, for example, to medicine, where you have to make a safety case. You can't just give a new drug to 100 million people without having made that safety.
Thank you.
Well, I wonder, Gary,
I think that's a really good point that he said there. Chat GPT and AI can be very influential in the world, and it can be very influential in even the psyche of a person. Think about it. If a person, I think they said at some point Chat GPT, or not Chat GPT, but just AI in general, will get to the point where you can't even tell if it's a human or if it's a robot. So think about the mentality that could have on a lot of people throughout the world, where they could go and, like, let's say they're just going and having conversations with a robot, and they feel like it's a person. That could be very dangerous to a person's mental, I feel. And I do think it should be some type of checks and balances to this kind of thing, where companies can't just, basically put out this type of technology to the public that could be harmful. It needs to almost be, go through a series of checks and balances where it's looked over by a board, and then they, deem it safe, and then it's allowed to, be brought to market. And everything like that.
What 6 months buys you? I mean, is that enough time for policy
Water
to get
shot
crafted?
water.
Or is it an attempt to convince markets to slow down? Because the capital flow, we can tell you on a business network, is unrelenting.
Yeah, I don't expect the capital flow to slow down, but we didn't actually call for a ban on all research. We called for a ban on these particular things, scaling up these particular models that themselves are unreliable. If you've ever used them to write your own biography, you know that they will lie about you. They provide both they can be used to make deliberate misinformation. Even accidentally, they make a lot of misinformation. So we have all those problems. So we're saying, fine, research all of those things. Just don't make a bigger version of this thing we already know is problematic and risky. OpenAI has acknowledged that there are all these risks and haven't given any solution. They're also completely opaque about how the systems actually work, which makes it very hard for the scientific community to do anything about it. So we can use this time to both help with regulation and also to help research at other approaches to AI that might not have the same risks.
Okay, so putting aside the pause, which I'm not sure is so realistic, Gary, how do you make AI safe?
This is interesting.
I think we need
Good question.
I think that's part of it. I think we need to have regulation like we have around medicine, where you have to make a safety case. We may need to have a pause on widespread deployment, even if research carries on, until we figure out what are the safety measures. We're probably going to need new technologies in order, for example, to pick up on the high volume misinformation that I anticipate. So just like we had to build new technologies for detecting spam and different kinds of viruses and stuff like that, we have to build new tech too. 6 months buys us some time to do that. I don't know that we will actually implement the pause, but we must do something here.
Has there been official response from OpenAI or Google or Microsoft or any giant player who's in this? Have they tried to say to you, guys, we're on it?
I I haven't heard any specific response to the
You
letter.
got a cough. That's
I have heard people like Sam Altman himself
bug
say
again.
we do need regulation here. Microsoft said that. I was in an episode of 60 Minutes, and Brad Smith was in it too.
I remember that piece.
He was the president of Microsoft, and he said at the end of that piece, after I said that these things make authoritative, and I don't know if you can bleep it out live, so I just won't say BS. He said that we need to regulate these things, but I haven't seen any actual specific proposal either from OpenAI or from Microsoft about what that regulation would look like. But they are starting.
Think about it, though. Like, you're a company, you make profit off of the better technology that you make. The more innovative you are is directly, attributed to the more money in your pockets. These companies are not going to be the ones to push for regulation. Why would they do that? Then they're not going to be able to do as much research. They're not going to be able to do as much development. They're not going to be able to build their technology, and in turn, that means that they will not be able to have as much money. So I guess it really comes down to, this is going to have to be something where the government or somebody like that would have to be able to step in and say pretty much like, hey, this is out of hand. We need these checks and balances and everything like that. So I get what he's saying, but it's like, we can't put this responsibility on the people who have an advantage or a financial, incentive to not regulate it. That doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? We need to be talking about why. Maybe why isn't the government looking to regulate this? Why isn't, things like that, I feel like would make a lot more sense. That's like having a business owner and saying, hey, I know that if you implement this, you'll possibly be open to losing money, but why don't you put in the work, to open this up so you could possibly lose money? Like, why would anybody do that? I wouldn't do that. And I feel like you guys watching as well wouldn't do that.
Starting to acknowledge this as a reality. Now we need to move people from, yeah, in an abstract, we need this, to here are specific proposals. This is what we're going to do. I think the call for the pause would disappear if there was real regulation and we felt comfortable that people knew what they're doing, but we don't feel that comfort.
Yeah, so he's saying, yeah, the cost for the pause would disappear. The only reason these companies would ever write up something like that is because they know they're about to get shut down. They know they're about to get regulated, and they would just be trying to get a step ahead to make sure that they're more in control of the regulation. That's what I would do. If I know the government is eventually about to come in and say, hey, here are the rules, then I would be adept to, write up rules, beforehand for them and say, hey, here are the rules that I want to present to you. But if the government's not putting pressure on them, nothing's really happening. All it is a bunch of people on social media talking about, oh my God, AI, it's about to be iRobot. I'm not about to change anything. I'm about to keep making this money, keep getting these profits, keep creating this in artificial intelligence, and keep it pushing. And let me know what you guys think about that. Do you guys think that Chat GPT, Google, Microsoft, all of them, do you guys think that they should be allowed to just, build as much as they should without regulation as they are? They're public companies, but they're technically, in a way private. Should they be able to do what they want to do? And if they have the scientists or the engineers or smart enough people to innovate, we should just say, innovate as much as you want to, go as hard as you want to for the betterment of the world or for the betterment of humans' understanding? Or are you saying we should put a limit and say, even though we could be smarter as a race and, have and be as innovative as possible, maybe we should slow this down for the safety of the people? It's a very gray area, I would say, because I have a hard time saying that as people, we shouldn't strive to be the best that we should be. But at the same time, it's like, do we really want to do that, possibly at the expense of the safety of the general public? So let me know what you guys think about that and everything like that. I believe that we should probably have light regulation on this, because I do think that this is something that really can change the world and influence a lot of people's lives. And so I would like to see a type of, at least a checks and balances, where before something is released, some type of department has to look into it and everything like that.